All right, let's reflect more and, of course, look back on the year one of COVID-19. And we are joined by Sifiso Falala. Dr. Sifiso Falala is the CEO of Plus 94 Research. Good afternoon to you, sir, and welcome to our program.
Good afternoon, Colin. Thank you so much, and good afternoon to the viewers as well.
Yeah, when we started 2020, there was so much enthusiasm, especially with business people and those who were looking forward to achieving a lot of things in the world of business. They were saying 2020 was a year of 20 plenty. But at this time, last year, things went south. How do you analyze people who had projected success and they had to experience such a precipitous fall in the value of their investments, the passion and the hard work they had put into how they were going to live out 2020?
Yeah, it was totally unexpected, and the impact is devastating at many levels. Obviously, I've been talking about an economic depression, and that's not good for the employment numbers. I think by mid-July 2020, we're already talking about a loss of up to 3 million jobs because of the hard lockdown that we had up to that point, but also because the demand side of the economy had been impacted devastatingly. I think as business people, it does tell us that we cannot forecast everything. There are many things that we could forecast, but certainly it's not everything that we could have foreseen. There's also a social impact, psychological impact on businesses and also on individuals within South Africa, especially now reflecting on what has since happened over the past 365 days. We've had to live with the unusual. And recently we got the matric results, and obviously we've seen a 5% drop in the pass rate. There's an impact on education. There's a direct business impact, technological impact, and some of the things on technology are quite good. So there's a lot to say, Colin, about the pandemic, what the pandemic has done to the business world.
When you look at how many business people looked at the anti-climax, they had said that they hope that after this pandemic they would get back. But there were some SMMEs which said that they don't see themselves coming back because when you look at their overheads, they were committed to their creditors, and they did not even have money to pay back what they had actually borrowed. So now this led to a number of liquidations and sequestrations. And when you look at the recovery mode, are we on the right path to say that those who have suffered losses have a potential to bounce back?
Not necessarily in exactly the same format, not necessarily as they were before they faced the hardships that were caused by the pandemic. Certainly the opportunities for recovery are there, but what is true and factually accepted nowadays is that the world has changed, the economy has changed. Many business will need to reinvent themselves, and the business people that had the misfortune, and many businesses in services, in furniture, in the retail, in manufacturing, in the hospitality industry, across the board had to close down, unfortunately, because businesses are not designed to be shut down for a lengthy period. So now they have to reinvent themselves, and that means taking into account some of the lessons that we have learned from the pandemic. And a lot of it has to do with the transition from a more physical economy to a more digital economy, and having to take on board the e-commerce as a natural way of doing business. But apart from that as well, the repertoire of services and products that the market is now looking at post-COVID is going to be different. The relationships that they're going to need to build with their employees is going to be different, and the types of engagement are going to be different. And one of the important aspects about the post-COVID COVID era is going to be the post-traumatic stress disorders that are due to the COVID pandemic itself. If you look at, for instance, the businesses have been shocked into shrinking and shocked into adapting, working from home and such things. So going forward, it's not going to be a normal world. So adjustments need to be made by everybody in order to survive in the post-COVID economy.
So we cannot leave out artists. You know, the arts sector as well suffered immensely. And when you look at those who are doing events, we still even cannot refer to them now when we talk about recovery because they cannot go full scale. So when you look at people like musicians, actors, and you can't even go to theater now. You can't attend a music festival. There won't even be a fill-up so-and-so. So it's very difficult now for people who are in this sector to say that, you know, some of them had to collect, you know, actors had to collect food parcels saying that we cannot function. We're not even getting the kind of support from government as other people would have. So COVID-19 and the lockdown really denigrated them. You know, some of them felt they lost their dignity because they were booked before the lockdowns and they had to pay back the money because they didn't render the services they were booked for. So it was just, you know, a pandemonium when it comes to some people who rely on their talent to be physically at a venue to perform and get paid. So for such a long time up until now, when we're talking recovery on certain sectors, and we can't even talk about other people who are on the sectors that I've already alluded to, how do you think recovery speaks to other people when it is discriminating?
Yeah, it's going to be hard to recover because the hardest hit industries, as you've pointed out, are those that rely on physical contact and they rely on a physical presentation of one's products, as you mentioned, the artists. And part of what the nation tried to do with the $1 billion stimulus package was to try and put money in people's hands, and as we know, it's not sufficient for everyone to their normal day-to-day living. So it is problematic. So hopefully the artists, what they can do at this point in time would be to delve into their skills, to delve into their talents, try and write more material, because opportunities for the expression of and the sharing of that material are going to present themselves. So maybe they were always spending a lot of time writing songs and doing different parts of art. Now they have an opportunity to concentrate more on that. And we've seen a lot of shows that are emerging online, virtual concerts, virtual shows, virtual auctions of arts, and so on and so forth. So we have to learn to seek assistance in being able to trade using the e-commerce platform for all sectors of the economy, because we are seeing a very rapid shift away from a physical economy to a more digital economy. So I guess artists, restaurants, workers, the mining, we got a report today that 94% of the mining and quarrying companies reported a reduction or a shrinking in operations. So it's not just artists, it's the entire economy that has been impacted upon.
Right. Dr. Sifiso Falala, thank you so much for making time to speak to us.